Hi everybody, welcome back and welcome to my tier rank of every single book that I read in 2021. I saw a few people do this last year and I decided when I joined BookTube that I did actually want to do this every year. I did read 68 books this year, so I will try not to make this a stupidly long video. If it does get quite long, I probably will split it into two parts. But yeah, without any further ado, I have uploaded every single book that I have read this year into my tier list. And yeah, I'll take you through what the ranks are. So the top rank is Amazing. This is a book that I have very little to complain about. It stayed in my head. I absolutely love it. You know, I'm raving about it sort of thing. There's a few of them on here. What a great book, you know, 4 stars or something, you know, still very, very much enjoyable. Still little to complain about, perhaps not quite as good as the Amazing books. Third rank is things I liked, things I didn't like. There's lots of books I have like that where I have no opinion one way or the other because there are just as many things that I liked as I didn't like. So that kind of explains that category. Would not read again in a hurry, you know, not bad necessarily, but I didn't enjoy it. It's not one I would reread, and that's personally something I find to be quite telling whether a book's any good. If it's one that I'm hesitant to go back to. And then last but not least, immediately no. If you've watched any of my videos through this year, you might know which books in particular are going in that category already. But anyway, the first book I read in 2021 was The Night Circus, and I'm going to put that one straight into what a great book. It's not quite on the level of The Starless Sea for me, but I did really, really enjoy it. I do love Erin Morganson's writing, and it was just so good, and I was really, really happy to have finally got round to The Night Circus after hearing so much, and I did love The Starless Sea, her other books, so much, but it's not as good as The Starless Sea, which is why it perhaps gets knocked down a rank. Now, Thorn, I'm hesitant whether to put it into Amazing or What a Great Book, because I did really, really love it and it has been one that stuck with me. I think I'm going to put that one in Amazing, because I did really, really like this one and it was such a surprise as well. Yeah, I'm going to put that one into Amazing. Sorcerer to the Crown, would not read again in a hurry. I did not like this one. It's not quite immediately no. You know, this was a lot of personal preference and stuff and I just didn't gel with the author's writing style. However, I did enjoy one of their books that I read later in the year, which was good fun, but yeah. But there's not many things I liked in that book, which is why I wouldn't put it in the higher categories, so yeah, it'll go into would not read again in a hurry. Ooh, Bear and the Nightingale. I'm going to put that in What a Great Book above The Night Circus, because I did really love it. I do really like it. I'm currently reading the second book and I'm loving that too. But it's not quite at the Amazing standard, you know, but I still absolutely love it. Like, it's just so atmospheric and wintry and I do really like it. But yeah, I would just perhaps not quite put it in Amazing. Left-Handed Booksellers of London, again going into would not read again in a hurry. It's not bad, it's just not for me, and a lot of the characters I found to be really irritating, and I don't know, I think I had like too high expectations because it's called The Left-Handed Booksellers of London and my copy has a really nice cover, so I think I was just expecting more from it because of that. Blood Heir is going to go into What a Great Book. It's not the most amazing thing I've ever read in my life, but I did definitely enjoy it. I did read it so long ago that I can't quite remember exactly what happens, but it is one I'm wanting to continue the series of, and yeah, just really, really excited just to continue that one. But I perhaps liked The Bear and the Nightingale and The Night Circus a little bit more than I did like Blood Heir. Sky Beyond the Storm. I'm going to put that one in things I liked, things I didn't like, because it was the finale to the Ember in the Ashes, and I don't know, I did like how it wrapped things up and it was all very well foreshadowed and stuff, but I don't know, it was just some bits and pieces here and there that I perhaps didn't like, or they felt a bit forced, or it was just perhaps a little bit too long as well, and you were supposed to kind of care about some characters and I didn't, so yeah, we're gonna put it into things I liked, things I didn't like. Ugh. Kingdom of Souls. I mean, I don't hate it to put it into immediately no, but it's gonna go down the bottom of would not read again in a hurry, because I didn't like this one, and I just found the characters very difficult to care about, and it was very oddly paced as well, and I just couldn't get into it at all. Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. Woo! We're gonna put that in What a Great Book. Above Blood Heir, but it's below The Night Circus. Really, really great introduction to Robin Hobb and the Realm of the Elderlings. I'm really, really enjoying Farseer so far, and I did really like this first instalment. absolutely fantastic series, really, really excited, but you know, not quite at amazing level, personally, just not quite there. Because Fitz is a bit moany sometimes, I mean, he has every right to be, but yeah, just something, just missing that little something, you know? Ooh, The Lady Rogue. Because I did enjoy it. I think I'll put it down, what a great book, you know. I did really, really enjoy that one. It was very enjoyable. It had a really good fun sort of like friends to enemies to lovers sort of romance going on. It had some really interesting sort of things about the myth of Dracula and things. It's all set around Romania and that sort of place. Yeah, definitely a really, really good book. Not the most amazing thing I've read in my life, but one that I definitely remember enjoying a lot. It was a really fun book. Ooh, The Last Magician. I may have to put... Ooh, where should that go? That'll go above Lady Rogue. Again, really fun, interesting cast of characters, interesting diverse cast of characters, great plot, some really great moments and stuff. I'm definitely going to continue with the series. Yeah, really, really, really good book, I think, to be honest, but a little bit better than Lady Rogue, but not quite at the levels of Blood Heir. Infinity Courts, straight up into amazing. I've read this twice already. I think I read it and then I read it like a week later. That's how much I love that book. It's absolutely fantastic. Beautiful cover as well, by the way. And I'm so excited for the sequel. Like, yeah, nothing more to be said. Amazing. Kingsbane will again go into things I like, things I didn't like. This is a series that I just kind of enjoy. You know, it's not the most amazing thing, but I kind of turn my reviewer hat off for it and I just enjoy it for what it is. It's fun, it's doing some really interesting stuff, but it's not amazing. And I am going to read the third one just to find out how they conclude everything and where everything's going. But not the most amazing thing I've read in my life. And, you know, things I liked, things I didn't like. Ooh, Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. So I was rereading these. Whoa, how to rank these because they're like old favourites. I mean, do I put them in amazing or do I put them... I mean, I think I have to put them straight into amazing because I've read these so many times and I still enjoy them so much every single time I read them that, you know, they're just like, you know, the classics to me, you know, they're my old favourites. I have such nostalgia for them and I was reading them just to be in time for the TV show coming out and it's been a while since I've actually read them. It was my first time reading them physically as well. I've only ever had them on ebook, so I actually bought proper copies. I got the collector's editions that you've seen floating around. So, yeah, they have to go into amazing, I think. As does Away. Oh my god, that was so good. I think oh, do I want to put it above them? No, okay, I'll pop it there. Really, really great book. Fantastic debut from that author. I mean, I've gone on about this book so much. It's just so good. It does some really interesting stuff with Native American traditions and mythology, with magic and the world where magic is real and how that's treated and stuff. Absolutely brilliant. If you haven't read it, I would highly recommend checking it out. King of Scars, I'm going to pop into things I liked, things I didn't like. It was a good start, but I don't know, I guess, you know, I'm not the biggest fan of all the stuff that happens in Ravka and stuff. Even though I reread the Shadow and Bone trilogy last year in anticipation for the show, it still wasn't my favourite. I do like the Six of Crows stuff because it is more self-contained. And King of Scars was alright, but like, you know, it was a step down again from Six of Crows and Cuckoo Kingdom. And then Rule of Wolves was just so much fan service and too much crammed in, and it just, the whole duology didn't need to happen, I think, and I wasn't the biggest fan of Rule of Wolves. I do have a discussion video of that, by the way, back from my very early days of YouTube. If you want to see me talk very slowly and there'll be loads of cuts, you can go see what my thoughts are there. But yeah, it wasn't, yeah, wouldn't read it again in a hurry, and you know, there was more things I disliked in that book than I liked that in comparison to King of Scars. Firekeeper's Daughter. I'm torn between putting it in What a Great Book and at the top of things I liked and things I didn't. Because this was another really, really, really good book, but I liked a lot of things and I also disliked a lot of things. I didn't really care much about the relationship, and that was like a huge part of it, but at the same time everything else that was going on was really, really interesting, so I might just have to put that at the bottom of What a Great Book. Really, really great thriller, sort of, you know, this woman gets involved in a sort of FBI investigation into drug-related deaths in her community, and it all goes from there. It's a really, really good one. I definitely recommend checking it out. Witches Steeped in Gold. Would not read again in a hurry. We're putting down the bottom. Because, oh, this book pissed me off so much because you know, only one of the characters I gave much of a shit about. You're told it's going to be this uneasy alliance between these two women, and then there's this male character that just comes in and dominates the whole thing, and he's also like the most boring love interest you've ever seen in your entire life. I did not get what I was promised from that book, and yeah, so we're putting it down the bottom and would not read again in a hurry. I also reread The Raven Boys this year, and on audiobook as well. So I think we're going to put those into quite high up of what a great book. I mean, I do really like the first Raven Boys book, but I do like that series as it gets going. So, no, stay there. Okay. So we're going to put it in what a great book. I did really enjoy that one. It was really fun as well to listen to it on audiobook. It definitely lends itself well to being read aloud, because it's quite a sort of lyrical, whimsical, magical sort of writing. And yeah, so whilst we're at it, you know, we'll put the Dream Thieves in there too. Oh, stop it. Why is it? Stop doing that. Okay. And then Blue Lily Lily Blue, though, however, is one of my all-time favourites. I'm going to pop that up there, I think. This is pissing me off. What are you doing? Stop it. The Dream Thieves come down here. We're going to put it... It's not my favourite, to be honest. And then The Raven King is also going to go up the bottom of Amazing. I love that series so much. Dream Country, things I didn't like, things I did like. You know, really strong start to a series, does some really interesting things with different mythologies. You're following the three gods who are all, you know, the god of sleep, the god of dreams, and the god of nightmares, who are all suspect in their mother's murder. Not the most amazingly executed, and it did some very weird stuff. But, you know, I'm definitely going to read the sequel and just see how that goes. But I did really enjoy it. You know, it was really refreshing, it was really new. So, yeah, definitely, you know, top of things I liked and things I didn't like. Gilded Ones can go in immediately, no. Because that has got the worst case of special main character who's also special. And by the way, did we mention that she's the special character? Fucking annoying. So annoying. Marks left on her goes up to Amazing. Not upon it there. That was a fictionalised memoir, and oh, it's just beautiful and sad and realistic and just harrowing, and just such a good book to read for anyone and especially any woman. Highly recommend it. Just such a good book. I have got a spoiler-free review for it. Definitely go check that out. Sister Song. Oh, I love this book so much. We're putting it probably in between Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom for Amazing. I love this book so much. It's a retelling of a Old English folk ballad, and it's just fantastic. I love the setting, I love the things it does with magic versus religion, I love the trans rep we have in this. It's just such a great blend of modern ideas with sort of historical setting and stuff. Absolutely fantastic, I highly love it. I reread We Hunt the Flame in anticipation of reading We Read the Stars. That's going to go up in What a Great Book. Like, I just really enjoyed that, and I think I'll pop We Read the Stars next to it. I did enjoy the first one a little bit better than the second one, but you know, it wraps everything up really well and does some really great things with its characters. You know, I really like that duology. Good Girl, Bad Blood, I'm going to pop in the top of things I liked, things I didn't like. I do love this trilogy a lot, and I do have a spoiler-free review of it, but there were some things in this book that I remember, you know, kind of came in a bit late and weren't as foreshadows as I wanted them to be. And whilst it's really good as its position in the wider whole of the story that you find out is going on in As Good as Dead, you know, not quite as good as the other two, and not quite at, you know, it's at the top end though of things I liked, things I didn't like. And then The Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy. Oh, we're going to put that at the bottom end of Amazing. I do love that series. I love The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, and I'm really excited to read the third one in this series. This one was really good fun. You're following Felicity, who's asexual, and obviously that really speaks to me. So yeah, just absolutely such a good book. Just such good fun. Witch Shadow. Ooh, we're gonna put that up there. It's up high. She's up high. The fourth book in the Witchlands series. I am going to have a video where I talk more about the Witchlands and stuff. I did do Witchland Week in anticipation of Witch Shadow. That was the last time I did daily videos like I'm doing this week. So feel free to go check that out if you're interested in the series. I've got spoiler-free discussions and stuff. I do a tier ranking of the book covers and things. It's one of my all-time favourite series, and that book was just incredible, and it's leading up to so many interesting things to happen in the last book, which I believe is due to come out next year, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't think it is actually, it might be pushed another year. But honestly, it's an incredible 4th installment. So much goes down, and yeah, just amazing. Royal Assassin Robin Hobb is going to go up and amazing as well. Yeah, I really liked Royal Assassin. I think it was in this book that you really understand all the stakes and what's actually happening with Regal and Verity, and Kedrick is such a good character in this as well. Fitz is really trying to find his place in the world, although the poor boy's still going through so much. And I don't know, I really liked Royal Assassin, and I'm so excited for Assassin's Quest next year. You know, I really liked it. Ink in the Blood is going to go, and what a great book. Really interesting idea of tattoos being magic and stuff, and mythology chasing these 2 girls and things and the stuff that happens. You know, I really enjoyed it. I really want to read the sequel just to find out what happens. You know, I really like that one. Traveling Cat Chronicles is going to go up into amazing as well. I cried at this. It was just, oh my god, it was so beautiful. It's such a great story. I have a spoiler-free review about it. If you want to go see me gush about it, definitely go watch that, because I have no words at the moment. I love that book so much. It's sitting in such a place in my heart. Ooh, All Our Hidden Gifts. We're going to put down the bottom end of amazing. I think one of the things I just loved about this book was how it brought in the LGBTQ plus themes into it, as well as just being a really interesting sort of like almost intro to tarot for me. I've actually recently bought a tarot deck that's due to arrive in the next couple of days because my friend does tarot and she's kind of getting me into it a little bit. So, I don't know, it was just really good fun. It's some really interesting stuff, and I've mentioned this before, but the main character is very unlikable, and I like that about her, and she's going on this journey to become this likeable person, and I'm just really enjoying that, and seeing how these characters develop and stuff is just really good fun. Ariadne, would not read again in a hurry. It did not deliver on anything that it promised me, and I'm mad about it. Hey everybody, so the only thing about trying to film like 7 videos in one day is it does mean that your memory card runs out of storage and your battery dies every now and again. So my battery died earlier, it is now later in the day as you can see, so we're going to try and finish off this tier ranking. So where were we? I don't know which one I've just done, so I'm just going to move on to Across the Nightingale Floor, which is the next one on the list. Also, we may see my cat, you never know. You gonna come both at me throughout this, or you're just going to sit there and behave yourself? We shall see. So, Across the Nightingale Floor. Immediately no. Immediately no. Like, God, I fucking hate that book so much. It's just so bad. And I've said this in a few books already. And you can go and listen to my worst books of the year list, as well as if you go into like the halfway through my July wrap up, that is where you get a lot of my complaints about this book. It was not good. I'm going to move on. City of Brass. Would not read again in a hurry. I'm not a fan of the several thousand-year-old man seducing like a fucking 18-year-old. Like, can we please stop with that trope? I hate it. It's disgusting, and I don't know why it's romanticised. And, I mean, I hate his character as well, but he's interesting, but he's not a very nice person. The only thing that's keeping me interested in that series is the last portion of that book, because that was all really good, but up until that point it was such a drag. Like, it could have been shorter. And yeah, it's doing some interesting things at the end, but the rest of that book was just incredibly dull. You then have Blackwing, which is going straight up into amazing. I love that book so much. I was so surprised at how much I loved that book as well, and it was just brilliant. I really enjoyed that one. It's such a great like world building and stuff, and I really want to continue the series. Gods of Jade and Shadow is gonna go in around about here-ish. I really liked that one. It was a really gentle sort of quest book, and I really liked how our characters changed and developed as the story went on. It was just really interesting and really good fun, and it was like Aztec mythology and stuff, which is not something I know anything about. I really liked this author's writing style as well, so I'm going to be reading more of her books. The Dragon Round. Immediately no. Oh, I've just realised that I'm not. I have just realised that I wasn't recording, so do apologise. Yeah, so Gods of Jade and Shadows gone into What Great Book, Blackwing's up there, Dragon Round across the Nightingale Floor, immediately no. Dragon Round was just so bad. Like, it was trying to do too many things, and it just left all its good parts behind and kept going with the really bad parts, and was like almost like 2 different books. It was really strange. I wasn't a fan of that one at all. Grass for His Pillow can go at the top of Immediately No. Bizarrely, I enjoyed that one more than Across the Nightingale Floor, I guess because you're more perhaps invested in the relationship that time rather than just the ridiculous insta-loveliness of it from the first time. So there was some interesting things happening in the second book, but you know, still shit. The Gunslinger, I think the top of things I like, things I didn't like. I mean, I have the hindsight now that I'm like 4 books in, so I do kind of know a little bit more about what was going on in the Gunslinger, but you know, taking it at face value, when I was reading it, you know, it was very much a case of, I think I came out of it being like, well, that was fucking confusing. I don't know what it's about, but I enjoyed it. So yeah, you know, things I liked, things I didn't like, and it was a very interesting start to the series. But I have to say, so far, The Wastelands has been my favourite from that series. Blackwing's Beating is going up to amazing. I'm going to put it down the bottom. I really enjoyed this book. I do have a spoiler-free review for it. It was just such good fun, and a really interesting world building about falconry and that being and aviation and stuff. Or not, what's it called? Aviatory or something is when it's to do with birds. Oh, it was such an interesting world building. I loved all the sort of things about climbing in the mountains, because I read it right after I had been up climbing in some quite high mountains across in Glencoe. So it's like I could smell the mountain air, I could feel myself being up there in the cold and stuff, so like the visuals and stuff were just right there for me. It was really great to read. Priory of the Orange Tree. Oh, it's gonna have to go like there for things I liked and things I didn't like. I have a spoiler-free review for this, and it's about half an hour long. Go have a sit through that if you can sit for that long. It had all the right things, but none of the correct execution. Despite the fact that it's a huge book, I think it needed to be a series because it's trying to do too much, and 848 pages is not enough for it because there's so much going on, and some things just felt too rushed, and it's things I liked, things I didn't like. Circus of Wonders as well, I'm going to put down the bottom of things I liked, things I didn't like, or at the top I wouldn't read it again in a hurry actually. I didn't dislike Circus of Wonders, but neither did I particularly like it. It was a very interesting, realistic depiction of circuses in the 1800s and how the people in them were actually treated, you know, rather than the romanticisation that you usually see in stuff like The Greatest Showman. This was about how these people were exploited and kind of given nowhere else to go but the circus, where they would continue to be ridiculed and jeered at because of the way they were born and the way that they looked. But it was still very interesting, and like I really actually liked that historical aspect of it, except for the fact that it didn't romanticise it. But yeah, it was, you know, wouldn't read it again in a hurry. You know, the ranking title kind of speaks for my thoughts on it. Fireborn. Oh, we have to put that at the top somewhere. I think around about there. I love this book so much. It's such a good dragon book. It's like one of the best dragon books I think I've read since Eragon. And I love Eragon, like, you know, I will defend it to the day I die. That is the hill I will die on. And Fireborn, so, you know, me comparing the two is like high praise. I loved Fireborn, and oh, it was just so good. As Good as Dead. Ooh, we're going to pop that towards the top end of what a great book. Whilst I do, oh no, I'll knock it down a little bit. I do wish the ending had been ever so slightly different, but what a book. What a conclusion to the trilogy. It takes such an interesting left fucking turn halfway through, which I, like, my jaw dropped when I saw where it was going. It was just great. I mean, I do have a spoiler-free discussion of the trilogy. Just such an interesting concept to go with the whole schoolgirl detective and the way, and I think one of the things I love about the series is how it deals with almost the realism behind that, and how a teenager seeing all these things would actually react to them and what it would do to her mental health and her mindset. I think that's one of the things that really sets us apart from other sort of teen girl detective sort of stories, is that almost level of realism to what's happening. Yeah, really great finale. Piranesi. Ooh, wasn't quite as good as Witch Shadow because I have that sort of attachment to that series, but putting it right up the top there. I mean, I'm making my mum read it at the moment. When I was working as a bookseller, whenever someone came and was like, oh, I need to buy a book, I was like, have you read Piranesi? So yeah, that was just a really great story. Timekeeper. Slap bang, I think, in the things I liked, things I didn't like. It was an odd one. Because the things I did really like. I loved the world building in this. It's this sort of idea of like clock towers keeping time under control, and when they break, time in the sector that they cover, you know, starts to skip or go back, and people find themselves caught in time loops. Then you have the mechanics that go out and are able to fix these clocks, and you find out things about the clock towers and their making and stuff as it goes on. But there's also like a relationship where there's like self-harm for attention, and that's like never addressed as a bad thing. Yeah, it's things I liked, things I didn't like. Dead Gin in Cairo, right up to the top of amazing. Right up to the top in amazing. I really, really enjoyed this one. Such a great novella. I loved the sort of condensed time frame as well. It's such an interesting introduction to this world. I'm going to read the rest of the novellas before I get to the novel because I really just want to see what these short stories have to offer. I have a review for it. Really, really great. Clockwork Dynasty is gonna go here, I think. You know, things I liked, things I didn't like. It did some really interesting things where it was more clockwork rather than steampunk, but I did like that aspect to it and things, and you follow characters in the past and characters in the present, and it was very interesting to see, because you follow the same character in the past and in the present. It was interesting to see who he had been and who he is now and how he kind of got there. So that was really, really fun to read. It was a really, really interesting book. Ace of Spades, again, things I liked, things I didn't like. I thought the ending was very overdramatic and kind of came out of nowhere, but I liked what the rest of this book was trying to do about social eugenics and, you know, discrimination, and and these characters as well were both really, really fun to watch and fun to follow. I really, really enjoyed them. It was a really, really great book. Alice, I did really like. It's a very dark retelling of the myth of the fairy tale of Alice. I liked the stuff that they did. I liked how they brought in all these characters and stuff and made them all really sinister, because the story of Alice in Wonderland is actually pretty fucking creepy if you think about it too long. So I like that this author went hard on how sinister and terrifying everything actually is. Yeah, really good. Empress of Salt and Fortune. I mean, I've spoken about this so many times. I think I have a spoiler-free review for it, so go check that out. If I don't have it, then I'm sorry, but I think I have a spoiler-free review for it. I just loved the sort of audiobook format paired with the idea that it's this woman telling oral stories of the Empress, and how it's through these small kind of stories of her life that you actually get a view into the wider picture as to what she was actually doing when she was Empress and why the old Emperor exiled her and stuff. Really, really interesting book. If you haven't read it, I would definitely recommend it. Daughters of Henri is going to have to go to Would Not Read Again in a Hurry. It wasn't as good on the second time round as it was the first time. You know, I picked up on a lot more on the flaws in the writing and the pacing and the characters and stuff. Yeah, it is such a shame that I didn't like that as much as I did last year when I read it. But unfortunately, that's just how things go. Oh, Order of the Pure Moon Reflected in Water is gonna go up to what a great book. I mean, I was so surprised, considering when you see, you know, Sorceress of the Crown all the way down here and then Order of the Pure Moon all the way up there. I mean, beautiful cover to begin with. Second of all, it was just a really great short story, really great novella. I liked that it was condensed sort of time period and sort of just focusing on these small things happening, and then you really get to know these two characters that you're following, and as they sort of form a friendship with one another, and both of them kind of form that friendship based off of their own experiences with the Order of the Pure Moon Reflected in Water, one of whom was a member. I liked the dynamic between the bandits. I liked the dynamic between these two characters that you follow. I liked the world building. I don't know if there's more sort of novellas or novels set in this world. I would love it if there were. Really, really great fun. Oh, You Should See Me in a Crown is going right up to amazing. This was so cute and so just heartwarming. It was just such a lovely contemporary novel about this girl kind of coming into her confidence and coming into herself. You know, it should be like a teen rom-com movie. They should adapt this as a teen rom-com movie. You know, right up to the last scene where she's slow dancing at prom, you know. Oh, so it's just so cute. I listened to it on audiobook and it was just such a great story to listen to. I highly recommend it if you haven't read it. Descendants of the First Would Not Read Again in a Hurry, and it's right down the bottom. The characters just weren't there for me at all. You know, this is a second book in now and they're just all so flat. You're supposed to believe that they'll love each other and care for one another, but those relationships just aren't there. the pacing was all over the place, you know, I just couldn't get into this one, and I'm not going to be continuing the series now. It took me ages to get through this book, that's usually a bit of a tell as to whether or not I'm enjoying it. I just really wasn't feeling that one. Iron Widow, on the other hand, is going right up to, just under Infinity Courts. Oh my god, this was so good. This is such a great book. It's just so much fun, and the blend of sort of Chinese history with futuristic sci-fi Pacific Rim, big robot fight big monster sort of thing. I love it. I love it so much. I'm recommending this to absolutely everybody. When I was working at this bookseller, people were like, oh, I need a fancy book. I was like, you're right, Iron Widow. Yeah, love it. Overlord Volume One is going to go down to would not read again in a hurry. I kind of have no opinion of it, you know, it's the first volume, but it's just not really my style. It's got lots of male fan service in it, which I'm not a fan of at all. I mean, I liked some of the art style, but again, the art style I found very disorientating. Like, you know, it was almost too zoomed in on some bits and pieces. I would have preferred a lot more wider shots just to get a sense of what the hell was going on. There were some interesting things with this main character and with the world building and stuff, but not really enough to for me want to continue the series. There was more things I disliked than things I liked. Oh, Landfill Mountains. It's gonna have to go down the bottom of things I liked, things I didn't like. I have a spoiler-free discussion for this book, and it's a very, I mean, the arc of the main character is the best part for me. Like, that's the only reason I really kept reading it. It's a very compelling arc, and it's a very good character journey. Like, I loved reading his character journey. And I liked a lot of the world building, but there was just so many different things going on that just didn't quite belong in the same book. You know, it tries to do with climate change with a very older generation view of climate change rather than my generation, which I get is his personal preference. I almost would have preferred sort of someone from my viewpoint writing this book, and it had some interesting things about storytelling and the importance of that, but it didn't quite manage to hit the nail on why those two are connected. But I kind of talk about it a bit more in my review, so definitely go and look at that. Drawing of the Three. I can't remember what happens in Drawing of the Three. Oh yeah, it was the one with all the doors. I think I would place it just above the Gunslinger. Actually, I would probably move the Gunslinger down to just under Green Country. Yeah, I mean, you're kind of getting to know Eddie and Susanna, and a bit more about Roland and stuff. You know, it's actually got a bit more plot to it than the Gunslinger. You know, ramps up the pace, and it really starts to kick off the rest of the journey towards the Dark Tower. So I did really, really enjoy that part of it. But you know, like, it's still kind of early days, which is why I perhaps wouldn't say, oh yeah, I really enjoyed this one. You know, I did enjoy it, and it was a step up from the Gunslinger, which I did enjoy. But yeah, but then I would then put the Wastelands probably up around here. I really liked the Wastelands. I mean, up until the bit with the evil train, that was a bit weird. But I mean, I liked when, you know, the fact that we see Jake again, and you get, you know, Susanna's kind of coming to terms with herself, and you know, Eddie and Susanna are getting trained by Roland. I loved all that sort of bits and pieces. It was really good fun. And sort of seeing more of the world and understanding what this world is and at what stage of a sort of cataclysm it's at or something. Like, it's, I don't know, we're getting more questions than answers, but I am really liking this series, and I'm definitely going to continue it to the end because, you know, I want to find out what the Dark Tower is. I want to know where this is all heading. I am really hooked just to find out how it's all going to end. So I would put the Wasteland sort of up there. Oh, the Untold Story is going right up here. Like, it was just such a fantastic end to what we've seen so far with these characters. I really love this series. It's very underrated, and it's not one not many people read. I always describe it as Doctor Who, but as a book series. Each book almost feels like a self-contained episode within a wider narrative arc, and this is the season finale, and it ties everything together, and you get so many more answered questions. It feels like a finale, the stakes are high, you're worried for your characters, you know. Oh, really, really great. I absolutely loved that ending. And we're also going to pop Midnight in Everwood up here because I loved that book. I read it just the other day. It's a retelling of the Nutcracker, and it was just so magical and whimsical and well-paced with good characters and good character development. Brilliant. I just have nothing but praise for it. I loved it. But yeah, so that is the tier ranking of all the books that I read this year. I hope you enjoyed hearing me talk through why I placed them there. I mean, obviously, you know, when I say that I like a lot of books, you know, Amazing and What a Great Book are my biggest categories, so I'm quite happy to see that I've enjoyed more books than ones that I'm so-so on or didn't like. And I hope you sort of understand my reasoning behind why I place certain books somewhere. But you know, this is all just at the end of the day my opinion and whether or not just I happen to enjoy it sort of thing. You know, I do chop and change my thoughts as the time goes on and whether I reread books, but as it stands, this is sort of what I think of these books. If you enjoy this video, let me know, you know, if you want to see next year a tier ranking video, or perhaps, you know, this is like a bit boring. What are the best books that you've read this year? You know, if you've got any tier ranking that you're doing or something, let me know, I'd love to see it. But thank you so much for watching, I'll see you next time.